Okay, welcome everyone. Sorry for technical issues. My bad. YouTube is still have some secrets. Yeah, big sorry for that. I hope all of that you that are interested or were interested are here now for first GDG Free City online meetup. We'll have two presentations today, mine and David. I have only one screen at my desk, so I do not see your chat or whatever. So there is Natalia on chat. She will be your guide. She will inform me on different channels how it looks, if everything works good, if you see the video and you hear the audio. And also if you will have any questions about GDG or presentations itself, please put them on chat. I will be informed, and David as well. So without further ado, we can go to the first presentation. Okay, so this is MotionLayout in Recycler view. How to make beautiful swipe animation from your XML. My name is Piotr Prus. I'm working at Schibsted and in project called Good Ones, which is dating app for Swedish market mainly. So what is MotionLayout? MotionLayout is a layout type that helps you manage motion and widget animation in your app. It is a subclass of ConstrainLayout, and if you would like to use it, you need to implement ConstrainLayout in version beta 4 of ConstrainLayout 2.0.0. So this is the swipe animation I would like to talk about today. So you can see we can swipe left and right, we have nice overlay on top of it, and after we scroll, items disappears. So how to do it in MotionLayout? So we will start by building our grid item. That's standard thing, some card view with linear layout inside, text view, etc. But the parent of this view is MotionLayout, and this MotionLayout have this namespace layout description that gives you information with which motion scene will be used by this MotionLayout, and we will constrain every set and transition everything in that scene. So starting of which we have idle and rest state. So we have this idle and rest state. So MotionLayout scene. We have a constraint set called rest. Some standard things like layout width, layout high, margins, etc. But the thing that you could pay attention to is constraint height percent 0.9. We are not constraining the layout from left to right and top to bottom. We are constraining on restart and top, and then giving constraint height by 0.9 of the height and 0.9 of the width. This is because if we will constrain all four sides, we'll not leaving any space for the transition to happen. So we need to give it space. That's why we are constraining only two of them or one of them in some cases, but never four. So how this like and dislike state will look like. I will talk only about like state because dislike is the mirror of it. So I will not repeat myself to setting how dislike will look like. So constraint set for like. Here it is. we can derive constraint from rest, which means all the constraints that are set there and layout height, margins, padding, everything can be taken from the constraint set that we already set up, the rest state. And here we'll add few more, like margin start and constraint start, top, and width and height. This need to be set. This is the only thing that need to be set in every constraint set, the constraints itself, but all the margins and things like that I mentioned before are not needed if you use this derived constraints from. So now we need to declare the transition in the XML. The transition from rest to like. Our constraint set end is like and constraint set start is rest. The duration is 100. It doesn't matter so much when you're using swipe, but after you take your finger up, then the transition will be faster. This 100 is in milliseconds. And here we have onSwipe function. Right now in MotionLayout we have two functions that we can trigger our animation. One is onSwipe and second one is onClick. So drag direction gives us in which direction the swipe will occur. In this case is drag right. OnTouchUp informs what we would like to do if user will take off the finger. So we would like to complete this animation to start. So to our rest state in this case. And then we have touchAnchor ID, which gives us information on which view we will use this swipe. And also touchAnchor side to right. And here it is, how it looks. Why animation didn't start? Oh, it is. So you can see we can swipe now our cell from left to right, but we are not going outside of its bounds. This is because the clip children parameter is set to true by default, and we need to set it to false. So when we did it, now it will nicely animate from left to right outside of its bounds. But as you can see, we have the animation behind. So all the odd elements are transition behind the odd elements, which is weird, and we'll try to fix that. We need to fix elevation. So my colleague from work, Damian, maybe he's listening right now to this stream, said no matter how high you raise the table, it will never be higher than your ceiling. So that means you can't increase the elevation of item itself. So grid item, you need to increase the elevation of the whole view that is constructed by recycler view. So the view that is inflated by view holder. So what we need to do is during the animation we need to increase the elevation of the item and then do the swipe, and we need to do that in recycler view child. So in the view holder, in the bind function, I took my view, which is MotionLayout, and set transition listener to it. and transition listener, MotionLayout transition listener, have 4 methods that you can override, you need to override. And they are as follows: the transition trigger, on transition change, on transition completed, and on transition started. I prepare custom enum, animation state started, and also animation listener that is invoked every time this state changed. So on transition change, I'm checking if my start state is rest and if the progress is between 0.01 and 0.1. Then animation started, and in transition completed, I set this animation state to completed. In the adapter, I have this animation listener, and what I need to do is to set tag for every individual item to identify it in my recycle view, which I will do in fragment. Here is animation state listener, and it is forwarded to holder bind function as parameter. And in the fragment, when I'm initializing adapter, I have this lambda that is taking my state and the tag for the view, and then I'm calling recycle view find view with tag and increase the elevation. And for the state of started and in progress, the elevation will be 1, and for the animation state completed, the elevation will be 0. The default value for child recycle view is 0, and during swipe we have 1, so it will be always over the other children's. And I want this to be back to 0, so if other children will start the animation, they will also be above of the one that just ended. And this is how it looks now. So the child animate over other childs because the elevation is 1. Is it done? Nope. Because we have null pointer exception, my old friend. There was very strange situation. In some cases, I couldn't define in which exactly. I got the null pointer exception, but one user from GitHub, he opens issue on my GitHub repo, and he said that crash only occurs when you perform the animation and try to scroll the list. From outside the cell, you play the animation from. And the example is like that. When you are taking item 2 and scroll the list and then touch the same item, everything is fine. But when you swipe item 4, then scroll the list and you touch different item, for example item 6, then you have a crash. And stack trace points to velocity tracker. So I got null pointer exception on velocity tracker. After searching in internet for a few hours, maybe days, I found a solution. So I made my custom motion layout that extends from MotionLayout, and I override method obtain velocity tracker, which gives me motion tracker, and I can return my tracker obtain. Inside of this custom motion layout, I create private class my tracker, which gives me velocity tracker, and in each of overwritten method I'm checking explicitly for null. So in recycle, I'm checking if tracker is null and then recycle. In clear, checking for null, in add movement, compute velocity, compute current velocity, etc., etc. There are a lot more those methods, and I override them all to check if velocity tracker is not null. And now there is no crash. So it's working as it should. Is it done now? Not quite yet. We have this strange behavior. When you try to swipe from left to right and without raising your finger, you are trying to swipe to go up and down the list, then the animation freezes. What can we do about that? We need to fix this items freeze, and by freezing the recycler view. How to freeze the recycler view? So I made another custom class, intercept recycler view, and put their swipe frozen variable. And in onInterceptTouch, I'm checking if this swipe frozen is true or false, and then freeze and unfreeze the view. So back to our fragment where we have this lambda the lambda from animation state listener. So if the animation state is started or in progress, we are freezing the recycler view, and we are defroze recycler view when the animation completes. And this is how it looks. We can right now swipe left and right, and if we'll take our finger up and down, the list is not scrolling because recycler view is frozen. Enough of errors for now. We can continue our work with MotionLayout. Another transition to add is fly off the screen. So when user will swipe to the left or right, we would like to take this view out of the screen. So here is the new constraint set called gone right, and it's derived from like. We have a card view scene that have margin start 600 dp and additional rotation of 70. And the transition is auto transition, and we can't have here on swipe and on click because we have this fly off to be automatically. How it works exactly? So when user is taking the finger up and MotionLayout check which constraint set it is currently, and the current state was like, and there is a transition with auto transition animate to end in the MotionLayout scene that start from like. So MotionLayout is starting from this and goes animate to end to the gone right. So if you release the finger after 50% of the animation of like, then the MotionLayout will take this transition automatically and send the view of the screen. And here is how it is. I'm releasing the finger at the edge of the screen, and the view flies. But we have this empty views here, some holes, because we are not removing the items. So we need to make remove item listener. In our onTransition completed again, I'm calling remove item listener and giving the position of the view that I just swipe it. It works for like and dislike. So I'm checking the P1, which is start. It is end state. Sorry, which is end state. So if end state is gone right or gone left, I'm calling remove item listener. But this is not enough. We also need to reset constraint to default, because remove item listener is only removing my item from the list that is inflated in the recycler view, not the view itself. The view that is controlled by MotionLayout is in the end state, which is gone left. So the view is technically there, but we do not see it because the state is gone left, so it is outside of the screen. So after removing item, I'm calling reset transition. And reset transition looks like that. I'm taking MotionLayout and setting the progress to 0, which is start of the transition, and set the transition to default, which is rest and like. So now if progress is 0, it will display the rest state. And here it is, how it looks. After swiping, item immediately return to default state. Now we can make it shine, adding overlay. So my overlay is just the shape in XML with some gradient and nice colors, and some stroke and corner with radius. And this is how it looks. Adding that to view is simple. You just need to constrain that to the parent, constraint top, left, right, and bottom, so that it will be always attached to the parent. What I needed to do additionally was, in this transition of like or dislike, adding keyframe set with that will control alpha during the transition. This is for better this way the transition, the overlay, so the overlay will be visible a bit earlier during the transition, because normally we will see the full overlay at the very end of our transition with alpha 0.1. But here we state that we want alpha 1 in frame position 50, which is just in the middle. MotionLayout is dividing every transition into 100 pieces, frames. So at frame 50, you are in the middle of your transition. So in the middle of transition, we'll have alpha 1, and this parameter will stay till the end. And here's how it looks. You see, at the very beginning, when I start the swipe, we see how the alpha is changing, and quite early we have the alpha set to 1. That's not all. I have one bonus regarding this. Take a look again at this transition when we swipe item off the screen. It looks weird when those items are showing immediately after the swipe. It looks weird for me. I would expect that it will wait for the item to actually be removed. So we should await item removed. And yeah, you probably guessed right. I will use suspend function here. Here is Baines from Google. made a great article suspending overviews where he described how to model asynchronous problem with synchronous code. So how to make listeners awaits, how to make the listeners in suspend functions. So I made my own await list changed, which is high order function suspend. It's a suspend cancelable coroutine that is resuming with int. We have observer here, which is adapter data observer, and override on item range removed. So whenever item is removed from the list, this observer will inform us about that. And when it will happen, we are unregistering adapter data observer. This is to do not leak coroutine. And then we are resuming it with the position start, so the position where the item was deleted. And if something will go wrong and the coroutine will be cancelled, then we are unregistering a date adapter as well. And we have at the end this register adapter data observer, which will be called immediately after await list changed. So back to our on transition completed third time now, if I recall correctly. We have here remove listener and reset transition. I added here launch function from coroutine from global scope. So I'm removing and then resetting transition, and in between I await for the list change. And to be extra secure, I added with timeout or null. So if everything will go wrong and somehow we will not receive information that the item actually is removed and list changed, we will still reset the transition after half a second. So the final result looks like that. Much smoother in my opinion. And here it is, good ones on production, how this looks like. I added here a few things more, like acceleration and also on click animation to open this card, but maybe that will be something for another talk. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, I will check if Natalia wrote me something. We have some delay, so I will wait. I will wait a bit for your questions. Okay, I see first question. Is null pointer exception crash reported to Google? Can we track it? I think so. I very much think so. I can comment that later on YouTube video or on meetup.com. But yeah, I think it's reported. Are we going to see some Java code examples as well? Nope. No, I'm doing my code in Kotlin and I'm not using Java anymore. Okay, no more questions. Great. I hope you enjoyed. I was quite stressed with these technical issues at the beginning. But now we are going to second talk. David, I hope you're ready.
Yes, I'm ready. Okay. So my name is David Lepsza. I'm working in Nordea. I'm in Android world since more than 5 years. And today I want to talk about floating action button and speed dial. I hope that all of you know what is floating action button, but in shortcut, it's a special button that we can use in list. It's usually his position is bottom right corner, and when you're scrolling the list, the button is still in the same place. As we can see on the screenshots, the first screenshot is from the Google Inbox app, and this floating action button is used to create a new message. On the second screenshot, we can see the Google Maps. Here we've got two floating buttons that are for the main options, main actions. And on the third screenshot, we can see the extended floating action button that works in the same way that normal floating action button, but he has got an additional label, and he can also animate from the icon with label and only icon. But what is speed dial? I tried to find a description for that presentation because I worked with speed dial a few months ago for my private project. And when I tried to find a description, first I insert keywords Android speed dial, and I found only an info how to make a call from our app. When I add fab into that question, I found some articles about how to do that, but still no description. The last thing was that I tried to find a description in the material design documentation, also without a result, but the first link from the material design description is about the floating action button, and there we can find some info about the speed dial. And we can see that speed dial can have 3 to 6 actions. How it looks, we can see at the movie. It looks like the normal floating action button is a main one, and when we click on it, we've got some smaller options, some sub-actions, we can say. But how to implement it if there is no information in documentation? The easiest way is to add, if we have got our layout, our prepared layout with list and with our floating action button, we can just add a layout with our sub actions buttons, and we just need to add a default behavior. As you can see at the screenshot, I used a fab transformation screen behavior, and that's all. How to start the animation with speed dial? We just need to use a flag is expanded from floating action button, and we need to change the flag state from true to false or false to true. How it looks? I don't know. What do you think? But in my opinion, it looks really bad. So how we can fix it? First of all, I tried to make a custom behavior. And as you can see at the code on the right, I override method on create expanded state change animation, and I just added some simple animations, some value animations to change the background color and to show the sub actions. The second thing that I made, I created custom floating action button, and I created it just to change the color of the button, the icon of the button, and the color of the icon, as you can see at the attributes. How the code looks. As I said before, to start the speed dial, we need to use isExpanded flag. So here I overrided the method setExpanded, and in this method I run method animate, expanding, and collapsing. In this method, I'm just running animation for icon and for color, for background, and for icon. As you can see in code at the right, For icons animations, I use the animated vector drawable. That's important information because on the next slides I will talk something more about that. And how it looks right now, we can see that we've got a background, we've got an animation for icon, and there is no problem that we can scroll the view while SpeedDial is showing to us. So I think that it looks much better. So as I said, animated vector drawable. It's a class in Android. To make two images, an animation from two images, we need to make them compatible. What does it mean? Two SVG images are compatible for morphing transformations only if their paths have the same commands in the same order and have the same number of parameters. This description is from the first link that you can see at the below of this page. It's a great article. You can find there a lot of information how to do that. And as I say, how to do that, it's also from that article. I found a great web application. The name of that application is Shapeshifter. And we can use this animation to create an animated vector drawables from different SVG images. As you can see at the screenshot, at the movie, the sample is that we can change the loop icon to the close icon, and it looks smoothly. So how to do that? At the left side, we can see the default XML files for play and close icons. And we just need to convert them into the SVG files. We need to put them into the shapeshifter. Then we need to follow the instruction from the page that was below the last slide. And as the result, we will receive the files with different paths. As we can see at the first example, first on the left at the top, the path data is pretty short, but on the right, it's longer. And in that way, we've got the two files that are compatible. So how we can use them right now? We can create some animations for them. The first object animator is to replace the image, the icon. The second one is to create some rotation, because while changing the icon, it will be nice to see the rotation, then it will be looking smoothly. And how to connect all of it into the one file, we need to create the animated vector with targets. And our targets are our files from the top of that slide. As it looks, you saw at the previous slides, and now we're back to the main topic. And the question is if we can do the same with extended floating action button. And the shortest answer is no. Why? Because floating action button implements expandable transformation widget. And I don't know why, but extended floating action button doesn't. So what I made? I've created a custom extended floating action button. I implement the expandable transformation widget, and I just copied the code from the default floating action button here. So the methods that you see, set expanded, x expanded, these methods are from the interface that I mentioned, and the attribute expandable widget helper is also copied from the floating action button. And how it looks? What do you think about that? Because I think that it looks familiar, it looks bad, so we need to do something to make it better. What we can do? We can do the same, pretty the same that we done for floating action button. We can create some custom animations in our custom extended floating action button. And as you can see here, that in set expanded method, I'm calling the same method than before, animate, expanding, and collapsing. And in this method, I'm running my custom animations, animate icon drawable, animate extendation, get icon color animator, whatever you want here, we can do. But just be careful, because in extended floating action button, we need to manage the state of the button. As you can see, I also override save instance state and restores instance state, because without that, there will be some problem with the current state with the button when your view will be recreated or if you rotate the screen. What else I made? I just set the same behavior as in a floating action button. I use the same attributes as in a floating action button, and how it looks now. I think that it looks good. We've got the background, we've got animation, we've got the animation of expanded, of icon, we've got everything, I think. As I said, it looks nice. So what more we can do? To be honest, we can do everything that you want. You can replace the behavior with whatever you want. You can add some animations to change the size of the floating of the button, to animate the colors as you saw. And as a bonus, I just want to show you some feature that I implemented in my app. In my app, I've got 5 sub actions. As you can see, I've added labels into them. I changed the behavior, so you can see that they animated from bottom to top. And the second movie is in the landscape mode. And I don't know if you agree with me. 5 sub actions shouldn't be in that way. Maybe we should change something, but my UX designer decided that they should be scrolled. So we can also add some scroll into it. Without any problem, we just, into our layout with sub-actions, we've just put it in the scroll view, and it works as you can see. Everything is working fine and smoothly. So that's all from me. If you want to verify my code, you want to try it your own, you can find it on my GitHub. If you don't want to copy this link, you can just input in the Google GitHub level with 3E, and you can find my code. This presentation is also there, and that's all. Thanks for watching. Okay, I see that I've got some questions, but give me a second. Can we have presentation as PDF? The course was... yeah, this presentation is available as a PDF also in my GitHub, and whole code is available at my GitHub, so you can taste it your own if you want. And maybe there is some second question. Can we remove the black color at the very beginning of the overlay animation when expanding fab items? That black color at the very beginning of the overlay animation. I'm not sure what it's mean, which about which movie we are talking about. Maybe some helpful will be from which slide, because I'm not sure, to be honest. This tool that you use to create the vector is free. Yeah, this tool is free. It's next question that I've got. But Natalia, I need your help with the second question. Can we remove that black color at the very beginning of the overlay animation? I'm not sure what we are talking about but because from the last slide we can see that I'm not sure Which black color you mean? Maybe someone see and what's the name of that? I forgot. An overlay when you click at the item, because here I've got the default one, and the default one is kinda gray. So maybe that's what we are talking. When you click Fab, you see white overlay on the whole screen, but it transitions from the black. It was at the last GIF.
Yeah, if I may,
here.
I think it's exactly what you said, that this is the default overlay. So it's kind of greenish. That's why.
Yeah. So I think that's it. Okay. I don't see any more questions. I will wait a few seconds.
All right. Thank you.
I think
Thank you, David,
that's all.
for the
Thank you.
presentation. So now, guys, we have some Kahoot contest. We'll have 8 questions and we have sweet prize from our partner Schibsted Tech Polska. So I will start it so you can join me. Give me a second. We are going classic. I hope you see it. Please go to kahoot.it and put the game pin. So we should have around 20 players. Go. Yeah, first players in. So you see the view. Great. Someone said that screen delay can be a problem. Yeah, you're right. Could be a problem. I set each question for 20 seconds, so I hope it will be enough to give an answer. I probably can't make it longer now. Yeah, we have 9 players so far waiting for you. I saw around 20 on YouTube. Please join. We have a gift card for Amazon, founded by Schibsted. Please join. 10 players so far. 10 more to come. 11, 12, going very slow. I will wait 1 more minute and then we will start. Yeah, player 1 is in. Great, great to see you. Whoever you are. Player 1. Any player 2 wanted to join? 13 players so far. 22 people online on YouTube, maybe sleeping. But alright, 13 players, lucky number. We are going to start. What is the newest version of ConstrainLayout that includes MotionLayout? 2.0.0 Alpha 4, 2.0.0 Beta 4, 2.0.4 or 2.0.0 Alpha 04? Alright, 6 persons were right. It's 2.0.0 Beta 4, exactly. So next question. Oh no, we should check. Yeah, Voito is the first in the list. Player 1 is number 5. Yeah, we'll see player 1. So, next question. What is the maximum number of items in speed dial? 3, 4, 6 or 10? Waiting for your answers. Alright, 11 person was listening to presentation. Congratulations, it's 6. And yeah, we have some changes on the leaderboard. Piotrek R. Next question. What are the 2 transition triggers in MotionLayout? Is on touch and on click and on swipe, on touch and on swipe, or on swipe and on trigger? Who knows that? Okay, on click on swipe was the correct answer. Only 2% know it. How would you like to have on trigger? Huh. Alright, but on touch, yeah, that could be. That's possible, but on trigger is interesting. What is the scoreboard now? Any update? Kahoot, are you sleeping? Okay, which attribute from floating action button class is responsible for managing the speed dial state? Is enabled, is expanded, is in edit mode, is activated? Is expanded. Yeah, again, 5 persons knew the answer. We'll see who this time. Oh, Piotrek still on the first place. And Adam rise to 4th. Great. Next question then. What is the name of the class that throw null pointer exception in MotionLayout? It's speed tracker, it's swipe tracker, it's motion tracker or velocity tracker? Which is the name of the class that throw null pointer exception? Velocity tracker, 6 person knew the answer. And motion tracker is 5 person. Yeah, you were close. It was velocity tracker, but it is a child of motion tracker, so you were close. And we have a big change on the scoreboard. Albert, out of nowhere, is on the first place. Congrats. Next question, 6th. Which class should be used to animate image in floating action button? Animated vector drawable, object animator, value animator, or state list animator? Waiting for answers. Yay! 8 persons knew the answer. Is animated vector drawable. Very good. Albert is on fire. Whatever that means. Oh, I see. Has a strike with 3 correct answers in a row. Congratulations. Oh, John Doe came to our scoreboard on 5th place. Congratulations as well. 7th. What is the name of the parent thanks to which we can inherit from another constraint set? Derive constraints from, inherit constraints from, take constraints from, or constraints parent. Yeah, the question is quite complicated. I need to think about a better one next time. It's too long, right? Oh, but 7% knew the answer. Great, you're listening to my presentation. I'm very touched. And yeah, Albert is going forward. 4 correct answers in a row. Congratulations, bro. Number 8. 2 SVG images are compatible for morphing transformations only if their path have the same comments, their path are in the same order, they have the same number of parents of each comment, all of the above. Whoa, too long, those questions and answers. We need to make them smaller. Yeah, 5% knew the answer. 3 persons choose they have the same number of parents for each command, which is also right because all of the answers were right. Okay, the podium. Wojto, congratulations on your 3rd place. John Doe, whoa, you were like 5th. And the number 1 is Albert, congratulations.